Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Ultimate Fishing Simulator 2. I'm going to give you some more beginner tips, and this time we're going to be focusing on bait fishing and getting from levels 3 to about 6 or 7, and you can go further beyond that, but that's kind of like a good milestone for you to get some new equipment. So, how are we going to get there? The first thing we need to talk about is what is bait fishing and how to get set up for it. Now, let's talk about the rods. I'm going to clear this off because that's one of my custom rods. So, you're going to see here, you're going to start off with 2 rods. You get the Feedmaster here, which is the one we showed in the first video where you have lures, and this is what the game gives you your first lure set off of. It's a pre-made. And then you have the Telerod, which is your float type, and it can only do a strength of 1.3 kilograms. Now, the game tries to trick you, okay? Don't be fooled. The game puts this on your number 2 preset with your float casting all set up. So you might be thinking, oh yeah, so this is my float rod, I have to use this. No, get rid of this garbage. This thing is a piece of crap. It has a strength of 1.3 kilos, or 1.13. And in the next place, we're going to be having like carp grabbing onto our rods that are like 4+ kilograms easily. So it's going to snap the crap out of our rod. Now, let's go back to the Feedmaster. This is a universal rod. This is not a spinning rod. It's not a floating rod. It is universal. That means we can set this rod up in any style. So, and it has a strength of 3.5 kilos. So we're going to use this. We're going to use this as well as for our float, just like we did our lures. Now, you can't use the same rod in 2 setups, so make sure you hit this button here to reset your sets here. Do the same thing for your other bait because we're going to need to get stuff off of your bait as well. So set up your new one with your Feedmaster. Then we're going to put our reel on. So I think you do have this. If you don't, just throw the kilogram on. I can't remember where I got this from, but I'm pretty sure this is part of the bait rod setup that the game gives you. Now, like we talked about before, this means roughly at 3.5 kilograms, a fish can break our rod. It's pretty loose. I feel like it's more like double this is when the rod really starts to break. I'm thinking like maybe this is when we start to get tension implied to the rod. All right, so we're going to use that. Let me back out of this again. Then we've got our Barracuda here. So this has a 4.5 kilogram strength. Then we're going to go to our line. So we need to buy a new line. Now that you've reached level 3 by following my first video, we're going to go back to the shop. We're going to go over to lines. We're going to scroll down until we see the 3s here. So we've got 2, we've got a mono, and we've got a braid. This one holds 3.2 kilos. We want this one. So hit buy now. And then we're going to go back to our equipment setup. We're going to go back to our lines. We're going to go grab our mono 0.14 with our 3.2 kilo line strength. Hit use there. Now you can use leaders if you want. What a leader will do is if I click this. So like we have a 2.5 kilogram and I've bought in a 5 kilogram on my own. What that means is that's the strength that the leader will handle before the leader breaks. Now this is pretty great later on. So you don't break all your expensive gear. Like once you have like expensive reels, you absolutely don't want your reels to be breaking. You don't want your line to be breaking when you have expensive lures on there. So you put leaders on, or sorry, you'll still lose your lure, but you don't want to break your line. So you keep losing line tension because you have a certain length. You can see that's 178 meters. You keep breaking your line, you're going to run out of spool eventually, just like in real life. The leader will break at the leader at that tension rate. So that way you don't lose everything else. You won't break your rod, you won't break your reel, you won't break your line, and you'll just break your lead, and then you have to buy a new one. And the further you get down the list, technically the cheaper things goes, even though I don't believe that entirely because these reels are freaking expensive, okay? They're more expensive than the rods. So definitely think about it, but right now, I wouldn't suggest it. We're going to skip it. We're going to put a bobber on. I've got a 4 gram. I'm pretty sure this is level 4, so we're just going to stick to what the game has for us. I believe you start with this guy right here, the Thin RW, 3 grams. Now we're going to put a float weight on it. We don't want to go with a 4 gram because that's only a 3 gram bobber, so that bobber will sink. Math, weight, physics, gravity. Put that 3 gram back on here. You start with this one. Now we're going to go choose our hook. Now let's back it up a bit. Let's head to the store. And we're going to go talk about hooks for a minute because hooks are very important in this game. The bigger the hook, the bigger the fish. But you can catch all fish on a small hook. A big fish will still take a small hook, but a small fish will not be able to take a big hook. So if you're looking to catch all the fish, stay with a little bit smaller. If you're looking for just bigger fish, stick with the biggest hooks you can get. Now, you might be confused if you're not a fisherman. I sure was. I'm not a fisherman. The higher the number when these start off, so like a number 16 here, that's the smallest it gets. And it gets bigger as it goes down until we hit like 1. Trying to find it here. Like 1 right here. Like that's the biggest that gets. Now, there's a different size after that. Let me hit carp hooks here. Probably a little easier to see it here. It's like 1, 2, 4, 6. I'm not seeing them here. Maybe, here we go. I just saw one. So, and then they go into a new system where they have like a /0. And then at that point, they grow exponentially. So it gets from 16 to 1 is getting bigger. And then 1/0 is bigger than that. And then 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, etc. So that's the way the hooks go. So like this is bigger, and then this is much bigger than like one of these, even though that's a 3-prong hook, obviously. So that's how the hooks work. So we're just going to go back to the basic hooks here. And we're all, I'm assuming, level 3. That's how we're going to build this little guide off of. So you're not going to be able to get anything up until this number 4. The number 4 is a pretty big hook, right? So I'm actually going to stick with us for a number 10. So grab yourself a number 10 hook. The UFA bait hook right here. Buy it now. I don't know if I have one, so I'm just going to buy it anyways. Spend my money on you guys. You better hit that like button down below. So we're going to go to the UFA bait hook. I did have some. Oh, no, that's a number 16. I want the number 10 right here. This one we can buy later at level 4, but this is the one we're going to do because we're doing a tutorial together. And then we need bait. So let's go back to the shop. Let's go to baits. Now, for catching carp, corn is amazing. Level 6, though. For the, I almost said grouper. It's not grouper. These things get a larger fish. I can't remember what they're called. Barbels. Barbels are great experience in cash, and you can use cheese to get them. Again, level 5. Even though this says the casters are good for crustacean, chub, bream, perch, and roach. Yeah, it's pretty decent, but, you know, 20 bucks. Let's stick cheap. You can get the worms if you want, but the bread is actually pretty decent as well. So I'm going to buy some bread. And then we're going to go back to the equipment. We're going to throw some bread on here. It's free, too. We love free. We're all cheap bastards, right? Cheap bastards. Hit like down below. All right, let's go fishing. So now that you're level 3, you've unlocked Zalasie, Letniskok. I have no idea how to say that. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. Is this Dutch? Is this the Dutchlands? So we're going to come here. Again, I like the morning in clear sky because that's just me. But we can see here the fish on the map. Tench, perch, ass, barbel, bream, carp, chub, eyed, pike, roach. So you can do a couple things. If you don't know a lot about fishing like me, we have this great tool up here called statistics and a Fishopedia. Here we can look up, you know, like carp. I want to catch some carp. Carpe diem, yo. So we can hit common carp. That's what he looks like. He kind of looks like a tench. So it can weigh up to 50 kilos, a length of 130, mainly feeds on insect larvae, mollusks, crustaceans, and algae. It is commonly caught using protein balls. These will tell you what kind of baits you need, which will then in turn tell you what kind of fishing you need to do for it. So that's how I would catch a common carp. How about a mirror carp? Mainly feeds on larvae. The same thing. Also corn. Like if you read baits, it'll tell you what kind of fish you can catch with them as well. Mainly feeds on invertebrates, but can also be caught with most large natural baits. Mollusks, crustaceans, algae, protein balls. So like if I wanted the crucian carp, we'd be going with like natural baits. But we've got, like we said, we went into the equipment here. The bread, it's a little, it's cut off there. Go back to bait. So it can attract fish such as grand roach, bream, rudd, barbel, chub, eyed, tench, carp. So those are a lot of the species that are where we are going next. And we're low level. We're broke. We're poor. We need the money. We can do this. Also, the earthworms are great fish. The dough is not bad either. Grubs also work, but I've had better with the beginning ones here. So let's head here. Let's go fishing. We've got our full setup. We're going to go bait fishing for the first time together. And here you are. So this is where you spawn in here. Now, let me show you where I like to go. So over here by number 5 in this little river, I always find a nice bit of carp. There's also some pike and asp hanging out in here. But also because it's so narrow, you can kind of be really cheeky and level up a little faster over here. So let's throw our first bait out. I'm going to throw it just down here. Now you're going to see you have something called leader length as well now for bait casting. So you see here as our bobber is up, you can see how my dough is kind of hanging down from the surface here. That's because of the leader length. Oopsies. And that is because of how far down we want that drag, so that way we can entice more fish. So now that we're down here, I can see a couple things going on. I wanted to check to see what kind of fish we had over here today. I can see pike. We've got this lovely... Yeah, that looks like a common carp. Maybe we might not be able to get him, but we'll see. We'll see if he bites. Something's coming. You want this big guy? No, not yet. All right, Chubby. See you later. So we'll just kind of hang out here. Bait fishing is more of a sit and wait kind of thing. You can move it around if you feel you're not getting some big hooks here, but eventually something does get on. And this is what I wanted to show you. So like, even though it's kind of here, like if it comes near the edge here, it's a lot easier to catch something here. And here, look at that. Like, look how easy it was for us to pull out an 8.6 kilogram common carp. Okay, now I'm going to show you my loadout again just to make sure you guys think we didn't change anything. But you saw how like little fight it was. I keep the drag low so it doesn't snap my rod or line immediately. And we're in a narrow river, so it really only needs to get within a meter or two of me, and then I can kind of pull it out of the water. It's a little cheeky, but it's pretty nice. So we've got our nice carp here. Why don't we take a lovely screenshot of him? He's pretty cute. Bam. So we're going to hit keep. I'm also going to bring my leader up just a little bit to 0.4 meters. And if we go back into our fishing net here and open it up, you can see that's only a 1 star. Okay. Now let me go back. I'm going to go to my equipment. This is what we still have here. We still have our Feedmaster, 3.5 kilos. We have a 4.5 kilogram rod. We have a 3.2 kilogram reel, which technically means we could be working at 100% here. 100%, and then what'll break is my line. It won't break my reel and it won't break my rod. My line will always be the first to break because it has less strength tension or capacity than the rest. Then you can see we still have our bobber, 3 gram float, our number 10 hook, and some bread. So I just wanted to show you that just to make sure you're not like, oh, come on, YouTuber, Mr. YouTuber, you switched your stuff. No, sir. No, we did not. So if you hold right click and throw it out, you'll get a nice shorter cast here. It's pretty nice for bait fishing, especially out in little areas like this. So we can use the underwater view again. I like to use it so I can see what's around. And I can AFK a little better when I'm bait fishing if I use this view. Now, if I wanted to be a realistic, we could use the realist view. I'm not that good. We're not there. But I want to point out, I still got my drag pretty low. I'm going to toss this to 64. And the reason I'm doing this is because, like I said, we just pulled an 8 kilogram carp out. If I have this set to 100% and I pull up an 8 kilogram carp again, I'm probably going to snap my line almost immediately. It's way too much drag for that kind of poundage or rammage. It's way too much for that kind of fish for what we're holding. Our capacity is quite low. We'll snap our line and that'll be no good. We can see how we've got Big Dumb coming up over here. What's up, big guy? Bam. And we got him. So we're going to bring him in, and you can see he's already like right here. So I can just pop him up. Not a big guy. 1.4 kilos. Little common bream. Not that bad. Not too shabby. We'll throw him back in here. And, you know, we saw some good looking carp in here. So I'm going to get my line back out here. And you can see our floats there. If you press Z, you can kind of zoom in so you can see your float here. So if you wanted to play like this, you could. You can even see your bait sitting down there. A little harder to see the fish, but you don't have to see the fish. You can see in your upper right-hand corner, you can see my bobbers going up and down on that white spectrum over there. Even though visually you'll see your actual bobber in the water sink when you get a bite, you'll also see it on your indicator over there. Now, I think on realist mode, you don't have an indicator, so mind you if you're playing that. And look at this bad boy. What's up, cutie? I'll show you here. So we can see, bam, bobber's gone, and we've hooked him. So you can see our tension's kind of high there. Look at that line tension, right? It was like really red. So I stopped reeling and I lowered my drag a bit. Now I've got my button set, so I've changed my keybinds because I have like an MMO mouse. So I've got my drag up and down on number buttons 4 and 5, just because that's like very easy for me to hit. So I can constantly rise it. You can see we're at the like three lines of red, and I got close to 4, so that was too much for me. So I just dropped it by 10%. That's what the buttons do. You can also use, oopsie, little high there. Could have snapped my line for sure. This is a big guy. But look, he's like right near the edge here. If we get him close again, we can just pick him up right out of the water. It's all right. He'll get tired. He'll get fatigued, and we'll just be able to just win the fight here. Again, just going to kind of bring you back like this. Gonna bring my drag up a bit. He's getting feisty. I'm now using the mouse wheel to do it. But look, he's like right on the edge here, so I can come up here and just kind of pick him up now. This is why this is such a great spot. You can get some really big fish that would usually take you a while. Like you saw, I wasn't breaking my line. My rod tension was good. My line tension was high. But if you manage that drag and keep bringing it up and down, you can get the most out of it and get the best kind of fight. Now we've got another 9-kilo common carp here. That's a big boy. That's a big boy. I mean, they get up to like 50 kilos, so this is probably still only a 1-star. But for us, using a 3.5-kilogram rod, some basic stuff, we're probably, if we all caught this fish together at level 3, we probably already hit level 4. We'd be on our way to level 5 right now. We look in our fishing net here. We've caught 3 fish so far. $56, $60, and then $4.5. Not bad. Not too shabby. So we could do this. I'm going to sell these. And you can see, I think I gained like 200 or so XP so far, right? Or not quite, maybe like 130 to 150. So it's not bad, honestly. It's really good. This is why I like this spot. I always find good carp over here. I need to get this out here. That was a bad throw. And I even like this spot to find some pike or even asp. You know, you can get the best out of both of these. So like right there, there's an asp right there, I believe. Or is that the chub? No, I think that's an asp. Those ones I'm still not quite too sure on. They look pretty similar to me. Again, not big avid fishermen, but you can see there's a lot of them here. There's a northern perch right there, right underneath our bread. There's another, I think that's a trench over there. The trench and the carp look pretty similar to me as well, so I'm never quite too sure, but I think that one's a carp because of the tail. It's more like two-prongy. And then I don't see any, oh, there, and there's a pike right there on the bottom. You can see him in the grass. He's kind of in the background over there now. So pike are good sport fish. They're pretty good for cash in this as well as experience. But the asp and whatnot and like the regular like northern perch, not the greatest. Carp, amazing. Carp fishing is the way to go to level 6, and I honestly suggest to do it a little further. So let's catch this, then talk about the upgrades we need to get afterwards. So again, I'll come out of the view so we can see it up here. Look, bobber's down. Set it. Now we're good. So I've got my drag here, and it's already here. It's just a little guy. This must be a tench. Oh, no, it was a common carp. It was only 1.75 kilos, and we've obviously got the line tension to reel one of these suckers in so easily now. Now compare that to when together we got that sockeye salmon that was only like, I think it was like 2 kilos, but because we only had a line tension of 1.3, it was quite the battle, right? Look how easily we pulled this sucker up. Still $11, not bad. 13 experience. We take that kind of stuff. Now let me show you, I'll show you one more spot in case you don't want to fish on the river here. Maybe you're a little nervous about how narrow it is. I also like, what is it? It's number 4 here. So just on the opposite side, I come and sit on my camo chair. And you got a couple decent spots over here. I like just to the right here, right in front, and even to the left a little bit in these spots. Usually have some decent stuff. So I still don't throw too far from the dock here. So my first throw, I always go out just to kind of peruse the area, use my up and down buttons on the keyboard to see. Now, I wanted to show you this because you see how high up we are and there's not a lot going on up at this level. I need to set my drag a little, or not my drag, my leader length a little lower here so I can get the most out of this. So I'm just going to reset my line by pressing Q. I'm going to hit the middle mouse button to switch between these, and I'm going to set this to 2 meters. I usually have some pretty decent luck at a 2 meter depth with this. And this one, I'm going to throw this a lot harder now because when you have such a long leader length, it doesn't go as far. There we go. And we can see, I saw something over there. He's gone. There's a nice, is that a carp right there? A little hard to tell from my angle. Might be a tench as well. There's a, I can't remember the name of it. That's the one that starts with the B. I always want to say the Barbados. Not a Barbados. It's not a real thing, I don't think. Looks like a pike or something was over there. Maybe an asp. Some other chubs down here. Look at that little guy springing around. Oops, hit the wrong button. So you can also fish out here. So right there, look at that fish. So this is what I call the mating ritual. This guy is going to go and make sweet, tender love to our hook in a second. I don't know why they do this, but like some of these fish get like super amped up and then they come and just absolutely ream your hook. There he is. So it's a pretty fun ritual. I like seeing it. It's kind of funny to me. I don't know why it does it. I don't think it's intentional, but like the fish is like psyching itself up like, yeah, I'm going to get that freaking bread. Get that bread. So we got a nice little roach here. It's just a little guy. So like you can see you're going to more commonly get some smaller fish on this on these ponds here than you would if you were in my spot on the river. But that's okay too. You know, you want to fill out your cyclopedia. So we want to catch a lot of different fish. So I'm just going to just reel this back up here just to get that leader length down. And let's exit the location. I want to talk about what we need so we can level up our goods. So let's say we've probably hit level 4 or 5 now, right? From just those fish, we definitely hit level 4 if we were level 3 together. And if not, we may have even come close to 5. Now, don't worry about these, like, you know, beginner kits here. These are actually pretty good. These middle ones, we'll probably use these in the next area, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about lines again. So if we come down to lines, you can see now if we're level 5, we can get a 4.8 kilogram line. 2 different ones. Now, I'm not a big fisher. I don't know too much of the difference between like hyper braids and a mono. So I've got both. You know, I'll buy this one too just right now. I don't know if I actually bought this. So if someone wants to leave me a comment telling me what the difference might be, I'd really appreciate that from one non-avid fisher to an avid fisher, right? So, but you're definitely going to want to buy one of these so we can upgrade our tension again. So this will put us slightly above our reel. So we want to make sure that we don't break the reel, right? So we want to make sure we keep that drag a little lower. Although we could be at 100% drag. If something's going to break it, at this point it would be our rod because our rod's now our weakest link, right? But if you haven't hit 5, I don't suggest buying this 3.5 one yet, just because you might as well wait and just spend the extra $8 at level 5. The way I just showed you, you'll get there pretty quick. Now that's your line. Let's talk about hooks again. Let's go to carp. We want carp hooks, okay? The number 10 hook is pretty good, but again, bigger the better, so you'll stop getting smaller fish biting on. So if at level, sorry, that's level 8, level 4, 4, 8. So at level 4, we can get a number 6, the claw extra large. I've had great luck with the number 6 hook. Even the number 7 has been fantastic for me. And then we go to baits. Now you can get cheese if you want to start catching some barbels. They also give great money like the carp, but you're going to have to go in the pondy areas like I was showing you. They're definitely more common out there. And then once you hit level 6, go ahead and pick yourself up some corn, and you can head back to that area we were in before, and you'll get some great results out of that corn. The corn is fantastic. I need to buy some more corn because I know I'm low. And then when you start getting towards some other things, you'll have some new lures available. Like we just said, we had these gold spinners here. We've got some, you know, you'll start having some minnows available too at level 4, which is great for like salmon fishing in the next areas. So all things to talk about, but I do suggest that you stay here in Zalasie until like level 10, honestly. Like the fishing is just so good here with the carps and along that river, and just move up and down that river. It's a great spot overall. And you can even switch it up and do some pike fishing too if you want to try and get some good trophies. But even though you can go to Slovakia at level 7, it's harder here. You know, you're going to be fighting over some like bleaks, trouts, some salmon, and they're not small. And these guys will definitely break your line much more often, or your rod. So you have to upgrade your rod, in my opinion, before you come here to effectively hunt some fish. That's right, we're hunting fish here. So if we did that, let's go back here, go to the shop. I have bought so far 1 new rod myself. And it was actually a float rod that I bought, because there's only, what, 4 float rods here, including the free one that you start with. That's absolute garbage. Don't worry about that tele rod. So I actually bought this Float X5 360 because it was the best rod available for floaters, right? And it's got 9.7 kilos of weight strength. So that's what I use my floats with now. I use that when I go out, and I waited till level 8 to buy that. But you could also skip this if you wanted and go right for spinning. Now you can see there's a ton more spinning rods, and the most expensive is only $3,000. So you definitely want to save up, and then you want to just kind of figure out where you want to be. So obviously we have a 3.5 kilogram. So getting this, spending $890 on this, it's kind of worthless, right? So you want to at least get down maybe to level 6 for the 4.5 kilo to get that extra kilo on there. But I suggest even waiting a little longer, you know, getting towards level 9 minimally for 6.35. And then you'll be in a much better spot there. You could go further for 12, but I feel like that's a little too long and probably a little too boring, right? So let's go with the Sakura rods over here at level 9 for 6.35 kilos. I think that's going to be fantastic. All right, brothers and sisters, I hope you found this helpful. It was a little long, but I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff. So some good fishing techniques as well, and exactly what to do. So it wasn't just me talking about the theoreticals. I want to put that into the practicality as well, so you can follow along with me. If you enjoyed it and you enjoyed this kind of setup, make sure you hit that like button down below. It really helps me out a lot. I helped you, so I hope you can help me too. If I didn't help you, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you do need help with, and I'll definitely look into it and get you guys something together real soon. But all right, brothers and sisters, as usual, this has been ShabbyDoo, and hope the rest of your day is not too shabby.